Hello, folks. Here's a brand new episode on my new learning show. Today, I will be talking about the nickel plate roads H Class 282. Okay, folks, here's the H Class 282 Mikado, or the Mike, or Arthurs as most people call him. So it has a 282 wheel arrangement. These steam locomotives were built between 1916 and 1917, and they were delivered to the Nickel Plate Road in 1918. And they operated throughout the 1990. Sorry about that, folks. Mix up. Of course, they were delivered to the Nickel Plate Road in 1918, and they were pressed into service throughout the 1910s all the way into the 1920s. Way up until the 1930s and 40s, they were mainly used on both passenger and freight trains. But then, as 464s came along, including the 284s, they were used more often on freight and some passenger trains occasionally. But they can also be used as helper engines. And even though this 282 steam locomotive is a 282 Mikado type, although it is much smaller and lighter because it's an H-class Mikado, because of the boiler size, the smokestack, and the pilot, as well as its tender, they are not specifically built for long-distance runs, but they can move quite fast. They can move pretty fast on fast freight trains as well as passenger trains. However, there is only one surviving nickel plate H-class 282 that's still around with us today, and that is nickel plate 587. It was returned to excursion service throughout the 1980s, all the way into the 1990s and the 2000s, until it was sidelined. It was sidelined and out of the way for an overhaul as well as a rebuild. Its overhaul was a long and slow process, but only time will tell if the 587 is already rebuilt and ready to be steamed up again. What do you even think about the 587? Should you really think that the 587 should be steamed up again? So, I'll let you leave some comments down below on that, so you decide if the nickel plate 587 should be steamed up again, and be ready to take excursion trains all the way down across the railroad tracks once more. Although it did double headers with Norfolk and Western 2664, number 1218 like you see behind it, as well as Norfolk and Western Class J611, and it also did a double header with nickel plate 284, number 765. Now this is another steam locomotive. This is steam locomotive number 225. Although, I don't know if it's in operation or on static display, but it could be on static display. Now, to some of you who don't know what a locomotive front pilot is, the pilot of a locomotive is also called a cowcatcher. Now, the word cowcatcher seems a bit funny to me. The cowcatcher is actually a plow device on a steam locomotive as well as a diesel, including modern diesel locomotives as well, which have snow pilot which have snowplow-like cowcatchers. This is an old cowcatcher that has lots of steel bars right here. And that's a very old steam locomotive cowcatcher. So the question is, how are cowcatchers on locomotives used? Well, in my view, a locomotive's cowcatcher is used as a plow to deflect objects as well as pushing snow off the tracks. So objects on the tracks are pushed aside so they won't derail the locomotive. They can also be useful as little snow plows. For traveling in the winter, the cowcatcher or front pilot just pushes all the snow off of the tracks. And when I say the locomotive's front pilot, I don't want anyone to get confused with a locomotive driver, since a locomotive pilot doesn't mean there's a locomotive driver. So the locomotive pilot is only the cowcatcher. Now this is a metal fabricated steel cowcatcher, or a metal cowcatcher on Union Pacific's famous locomotive, the famous Living Legend steamer number 844. Like all steam locomotives that have cowcatchers, it too has a cowcatcher of its own. But like I said, it's made out of steel or metal. And it also has and this cowcatcher is also an example of how a locomotive's cowcatcher has improved over the years. And here is a cowcatcher, the snowplow-like cowcatchers of modern diesel locomotives. And this is a BNSF ES44 diesel locomotive. But like all of its sibling engines as well as its rival counterparts, modern diesel locomotives today use snowplow-like cowcatchers like these. And of course, the locomotive's cowcatchers are still useful for pushing objects out of the way and as well as pushing snow. It seems really interesting that this cowcatcher almost look like a snowplow. Although I don't want to confuse you with a railroad snowplow. So that's what this cowcatcher is designed to look like a little snowplow. Anyway, folks, that's all I got for you for tonight. I hope you all enjoyed this learning episode. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like and leave the comments down below. I'll see you next time.